Jahnavee, for being here. I'm so glad to see you after so many years. You are now a third year student at TIC, and you are majoring in physics and mathematics. We worked with you in your high school, SAT test preparation, and then we worked with you on college essays. I don't want to bring in any PTSD here, but you were great. I loved how you worked on the SAT and the score improvement you saw. And I remember your essays, they were beautiful. So we'll get into that in a moment. But I wanted to talk about how college is going. So tell me, how is third year physics treating you? Or let's back up. Why did you decide to do physics? Did you know going into college that that's what you want to do? Or was that something you discovered along the way?
Honestly, I think I'll start off with the second question. I think I decided to do physics going into college because I was good at it in high school. I liked it a lot in high school, and I think my teacher interested me quite a lot. The content was very interesting to learn and I wanted to pursue it in college. Now, being a third year physics undergrad student, it's been challenging. The classes are very interesting, but it is challenging. I think switching from high school content and learning to undergrad content and learning has been it's drastic, at least in my opinion. And the study methods, and it's been great, but it's definitely been challenging.
So, what has helped you in making that transition from high school to college? Did you have professors who supported you, or the tutoring centers, or how did you make that transition?
I think more than anything, it was knowing that a lot of other people were suffering as well. That helped a lot. I am still trying to work through my study routine and understand what works for me. So I think talking to other people, seeing what they do, and then I think people think that physics is a very solitary field, but it's not. It relies quite a lot on peer review, peer work, and as the more challenging things come in, it's better to work in groups, and even the professors encourage it that you work with other people, you solve problems together, and you learn together. So that's been really helpful. I would say my peers are the most helpful for me.
I love that. I don't think we talk enough about working in a group. In
Mhm.
high school, you do get group projects, but a lot of your learning is perhaps by yourself. So in college, that's a big difference that you find that you are working and you're solving problems together that aren't just
Yeah,
one-step solutions.
you're even studying together. All of my finals, I have studied with groups. We will rent out some of the classrooms and we'll just solve our homework problems back on, or we'll just go through some of the book problems and make sure that we understand the content. And then we can all go into the test together, and either we all fail together or we all pass together. So it's nice.
That's wonderful to hear. Now, Duquesne is a liberal arts school. Are there classes that surprised you that you didn't think you would like, but you ended up liking more than when you started out?
I would actually say some of the theology classes. Duquesne is also a Catholic school, so I required that every student take a theology class. My schedule in general is already pretty packed, so I try to take the bare minimum of the liberal arts requirements. I wasn't able to escape the theology requirements, but it's been very interesting learning about the different religion, or just the Catholic religion as a whole, and then learning about the Bible. I'm myself am not Catholic, but it's interesting to see what the religion is like. And yeah, I think, and it's a nice change of pace from science and math as well, because it can get quite monotonous. So it's nice, and my professor is really good. He's very hands-on. Also, a lot of cultural aspects today, I get to see that where it started in the class. So I would say that theology classes are great.
And I think again, you bring up another really good point, and students lose sight of it. They say, we're going to go in, I'm an engineer, and I'm going to go in and learn about all the engineering classes or whatever your major is. But it can, like you said, it can get very monotonous, and it's good to break up, and you never know where you might find something that will interest you
Yeah.
and gives you another perspective on whatever you're doing.
I would definitely highly encourage people that are in STEM field to, it seems like our schedules are always quite packed, but it's either good to take a class that has nothing to do with what you're doing, or even try to do a study abroad, or just something that does not keep you in science 24/7, because I do feel like it's a good way to burn out like that. And especially as a third year with the level of work that I have now, it's important to not burn out and be very cognizant of the things that you can do.
So you're more than halfway mark on your college journey. How are you looking ahead? How do you look behind? Maybe look behind and what would you tell your first year self? Oh, that was really smart of you. Or what were you thinking then? Do you have any of those thoughts?
I have a lot. Definitely going back to be cognizant of not burning out. When you first start college, you're very excited to be a part of all of these different things. You can get kind of brainwashed, I would say, in the sense of like, I have so many options. I don't know what to choose, so I'm going to choose all of them. I would tell myself to maybe pace it out and leave a little bit more room to just be and not constantly be working out things. And I would be very strict with, here's my schedule and here is how I'm going to spend the rest of my day. So maybe I'll do 3 hours of work and then I relax the rest of the night. So I think time management would be a skill that I would really, really impose on myself. And yeah, like I said, like study abroad, I would do that. I would focus on just diversifying myself outside of being a scientist. Because to be a scientist, you also have to be not even a scientist, to just be a member of society, you should know all of these different assets or assets of information. So I would tell myself to be improve my time management and go out a little bit more in the world.
I love it. Seems like you have grown a lot and
Yeah.
just from your experiences. Besides your classes, how else have you engaged with the community or just the hands-on experiences? Physics is very theoretical. Has it been that theoretical for you, or how have you expanded that scope?
In my first year of undergrad, I chose to work in a lab with an experimental physicist. So it has really taken my knowledge from the first 3 years, and I'm able to actually apply it and visualize what's going on. I do think that the more advanced we get in classes now, it'll be harder to do that. But in physics, we do also have labs. So we have the first year physics labs and then the second year physics labs. The third year is a little bit harder to do it since we have more theoretical classes, like you were saying. We have quantum physics, thermodynamics. So that can be a little bit harder to put in a lab scenario. But due to my lab work and research work, I am still able to apply those topics that we learn in class to the research that I'm doing. Also, did you want me to talk about my future plans as well? I realize we never got to.
No, tell me what are
Okay.
you looking ahead to now that half of your college is behind you?
I think for now, I really want to go into the workforce. I want to get some hands on skills, boost my resume up a little bit. And then if I plan on going back into grad school, I have that option as well. But I think for me, it's important to move away from being in school for so long. It's very easy to just go from one school to another. And I think I feel I would miss out on quite a lot of experiences in my 20s if I just kept doing that. So I think for me to grow as a human and then for me to also pad my resume up a little bit, I want to pursue a career. And then it'll also help me see a little bit more of what I want to do in grad school because I currently don't really know what I want to do.
So
Yeah,
this
so
time away will allow you to just
yeah.
reflect and see what exactly masters mean to you.
And I think a lot of people have a misconception that going or taking time off from school will make it harder to get back into school. And there might be some validity and it might be harder to get back into the rhythm of studying. But I think if anything, it helps you that you do want to go back into school and it makes you want it more. And it makes you say that this is something I really like, this is what I want to go into, and this is what I'm gonna do to go back into it. And these are the skills that I now have in a workforce. So it gives you that practical mindset of here are my job qualities and here's how I can apply them in a research setting. So I think it can be very beneficial if people are a little bit tired and burnt out from school to do that, take that career path.
I love the concept of gap year between the undergrad and the master's and allow yourself to mature, grow, develop new perspectives so you get back into your master's degree with a little more informed mindset of what it means to you. Now, let's break up this sort of serious conversation and how about we
Okay.
do a rapid fire round? All right. So I have 5 categories and I will let you pick and choose. We'll do 2 categories, all right? So the first one is academics and study habits. The second category is campus life and activities. Third is personal preferences and fun. Fourth is challenges and solutions. And fifth is future aspirations. Which one do you want to go first?
Can I do the first one first?
All right, academics and study habits. So a rapid fire. So think for a moment, but don't dwell on it. I want to
Okay.
see what your gut answer is going to be. So
Okay.
early bird or a night owl?
Night owl,
Study spot on campus.
library.
Most useful study tool or app?
I think it's that forest app where you can time way away from your phone and you grow trees. So you put a 4 hour block, for example, to not use your phone. And it actually helped me study because I used to have a bit of a phone addiction.
So you grew a lot of fun. What a cool app. Group study or solo study?
Group study.
All right. Preferred learning style. Are you a visual learner, auditory, or kinesthetic?
I would say a mix between the visual and the kinesthetic.
So you want to be able to see and feel what you're doing. Favorite class of all time?
I would say optics.
Optics. Most challenging subject.
I would say physics.
So while you're doing it, it is also challenging.
It's what keeps you engaged and interested, which I like.
Do you take notes by hand or digitally?
So what I do is I actually see what's being written and then I copy it after the class. So I see what I can remember hours later. And then if I can't remember anything, then I go back to the notes that have been posted.
Aren't you an ideal teacher's pet? That's a really good way to take notes. All right. One study tip you swear by.
Oh, I would say you don't have to do 10 hours of studying in a day. I would just say, especially with classes and everything, I would recommend literally just a 4 hour block of time. So there have been published papers that say if you do more than 4 hours of work, your brain is not going to be efficient and you're not going to have good output. So I think 4 hours of work and then balance it with life balance is important.
Okay. And I love it. That was the rapid fire question, and I love our conversation. But before I let you go, one final question. What would you tell your 16 or 17-year-old high school self?
I would say that all the what? One piece of advice. I would say that all of the problems and issues you think are major as a 16, 17-year-old are not as important. So don't dwell on it too much.
That is
Okay.
right. They are mountains. You're making a mountain of a
Yes.
A very sane advice from a wonderful student of ours. Thank you, Jahnavee, for joining us today.
Happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me. This is great.
Thank you.